All right.
Hey, Coach, how you doing today?
Doing great.
All right.
What's on your shirt?
Oh,
Seahawks or is that a Hawk?
Smyrna Seahawks. Coach D. Lid, #1.
Well, I got you.
You gonna go watch that game?
It's got a little cold out, so I had to.
You got the matching shoes too.
Yeah.
I got you.
You gonna go watch the game? Just go.
I'm not.
Do you put on a huddle so I can evaluate?
We
I'll
got
have some
tape.
questions about
It's
you.
on tape. That on YouTube.
Yeah, I need to get a copy of that. All right. In all seriousness, ready to roll.
Yeah, let's go. Hey, just checking with you on, we've seen some of the IR designations come out.
Yeah, you'll see Isaiah practice today. And with all of those guys,
21-day clock.
absolutely. And with all they're on different time frames, and there's no need to press it, but you will see Isaiah today.
How close was he kind of entering this season? Like, was there a conversation of whether you thought he might be ready before this one?
With all the players, I mean, you're evaluating that medically, and we're going to do what's best for the players. And that's kind of guides our decision, what's best for the player and where they're medically where they're at, and you trust the people, the professionals in that space. And we have open conversations with all our players about it. But at the end of the day, we're always going to do what's best for the player, their health and safety, and then for the team.
I'm just going over some of the rules, and you get 8 guys to come
Absolutely.
back, and so you kind
once
of
they
got
come
to
off, now we're down to 7. Okay. Regardless whether Isaiah gets activated or not, that's one of your spots. So you can't game the whole, like, getting a bunch of extra bodies at practice. Yeah.
Oh, days.
You said it, not me.
Yeah.
In terms of what Caleb has done to get to this point.
Which Caleb, McGarry or Huntley?
Sorry, Huntley.
Huntley.
Caleb with the C.
Gotcha.
There we go. We got many Calebs.
Right.
What he has done to get to this point from where he was when you guys got him.
Well, a lot
At
of
the start
guys
last
are-
year, like where was that? Where's that development, that growth really stood out? You think?
With a lot of guys we've had in our program, like I said, we feel really good about these guys that rosters are bigger now, and you're seeing it more than others. Seasons are longer. So it's a fun part of coaching, and just the difference in guys that get in there. They come from different schemes, different backgrounds, different programs in college. And he's a guy that showed up to work every day, and he's had a great attitude and great mindset. And, he showed some flashes last year in the preseason, came back and followed it up. I thought, again, like most of us, it wasn't perfect as you learn in the kind of the habits to be a pro for a lot of our young guys. And then thought he had a really good spring and had another good camp. That's why we kept him. And his opportunity, we had a chance a couple weeks ago, got his feet wet, and then the opportunity on Sunday, and he came through. Happy for him.
How do you? Before, when you had CP, you kind of knew a little bit. It looked like of what that rotation would be when maybe some guys would use.
The game plans have changed. Sometimes we use, and we'll continue when CP gets back, depending on what we ask him to do, because he certainly can play on the perimeter as well.
So how does that change with now that you've got 2 guys that really don't have a ton of NFL experience in Huntley and Algier? Does that change at all how you approach things, what you do?
We'll change our approach week to week on the game plan. That's real. I mean, I'm not going to get into our scheme, and we'll let Todd Bowles and the rest of the staff, figure it out, just like they'll want us to try to figure out what they're doing. But that'll change week to week. We played a different style almost every week on offense and defense, depending on what we think is the best, gives us the best chance to win.
Let me retry this though.
All right.
Do you envision the 2 of them more as kind of a tandem committee situation
Depends
versus
on the game plan? Covers it all. It's the truth too. I mean, I'm not trying to. I mean, that's what it is. And then a lot of times there's an evolution during the football game. You may have what you feel is the best plan of attack. They have a say in it as well. They may have a different plan, and then you got to adapt. And that's real. It's the truth.
What is his special trait? Caleb Huntley's special trait. If you put him on the running back board and you say, hey, he does this.
I'm not a draft guru, just a football coach.
Well, I mean, you want to draft people that can play football. So what is his football skills that you really like?
Well, like a lot of our guys, he's got good work habits, physical runner, works at it, and has been pretty consistent in his approach. I don't have the Madden badge though. Is that what you're looking for?
You know,
Give me a number on like,
shifty,
yeah,
nifty,
yeah.
you know,
I'll let
runs
y'all
low,
debate that and let
runs low to the ground. You know,
I'll let all the draft gurus and personnel experts online debate that. He's a good football player.
for the cornerbacks, you know, they got to flip their hips. You know, all this stuff.
Awesome.
Isaiah, you know, if he's able to get back, you know, I guess it's a health thing first before you decide where he can go.
Yeah, we got to evaluate and make sure he's can play a full game. I think he's trending in the right direction, and in his role, he's a very versatile player. Play multiple spots for us, so excited to get him back, and we'll see where it goes this week, and if not this week, in the future.
As far as the offensive line, I talked about this today. Like last year in that 3-game stretch, you saw something, you know, and the stats didn't. I couldn't find nothing in the stat, but you saw something that let you know that, you know, these guys need to. You got something here.
Yeah.
Can you enlighten us on that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, you look at the terms of growth and improvement at certain times as the year went on. Certainly in Jacksonville, at times in the early part of the second Tampa game, you know, here in Atlanta, Carolina, you know, things like that. Wasn't perfect, but we had shown progress. But it is a little bit different of a team, and we've evolved a lot. You know, things we changed last year and saw it, and then always looking for ways to improve. And so there's a lot of things we've changed behind the scenes offensively, and we have different personnel, and there's some guys that have continued to develop and that we're very pleased with, that were here last year.
To that end, production does feel night and day in that regard. I mean, you're talking about change. What is the catalyst what do you attribute as the catalyst to that change?
There's a lot of things. It's hard to just say one thing, but I think the most glaring is not going to probably be the answer you're looking for, is the consistency of the work habits and getting better at it day to day. It's a lot of the mundane. There's no special pill, no certain exercise. It's just creating those habits, working, understanding, and guys getting better day after day. That's really what it's been.
When you're evaluating guys, how much of their capacity for the mundane do you look for?
Yeah, a lot. I mean, it's probably the hardest thing to predict is you're relying on what you consider, and then, like I said, guys come from a lot of different programs, and it's not going to be perfect, but you're basing a lot of it on their history, and then what you don't know until you get somebody into the building is how they change, how they adapt, how they handle success, how they handle failure. There's a long grind of a season, wear them down, and I think after you're with somebody for a long time, you have a pretty good feel, and those are the guys you want to reward, and that's what we feel like we've done, certainly with Grady Jarrett, Jake, Koo. So it'll continue to evolve, and I've been around some guys, and they've started out really well, and then something maybe have changed, and then that's the hardest thing to evaluate and be objective about. Is that the answer you're looking for?
Perfect, thank you.
All right.
It was a big week for run games. Are we seeing a big picture response to sort of more too high defenses, or is that just a one-off and not?
Yeah, it's been a big
much into that?
topic conversation. It's whatever was old is new again, and how it goes. So that could be some of it, or maybe it's in vogue to run the ball again. I don't know. There's a lot of groupthink too. Maybe if somebody sees somebody do it and has success, maybe they try it. There's some of that. Some of it is what the defenses are doing, give and take, and it'll continue to evolve. That narrative now, the defenses will evolve, and then it's our job to adapt as well. That's kind of been the trends of football, for in the history of this game. I mean, there's a lot of things. Maybe you're the quarterback's away from center, but there's a lot of old triple option, wishbone elements that are in the zone read. It's just they just pull the quarterback back, and a little bit different, but they were doing that a long time ago as well. Other than the evolution probably of the forward passing game, a lot of the run stuff is what was old is new again. There's different ways to do it.
So does that mean you're going to go to all passing since you don't like groupthink? Is this going to be you going to spread?
No, not necessarily. I mean, they may put in goal line wishbone, wing T.
Cool.
How difficult is the balance as you game plan year to year and game plan week to week and evolve year to year to, do what you do well and what you believe in versus trying to be out front of the sort of the rolling ball?
Yeah, it's a fine line, right? because I think you need to continue to push that. And your team's going to change every year. Like, I mean, I joke about it, but you really should be rebuilding every year. It's just the way the league, where it's at. It's very transactional. You know, obviously with free agency, people make more trades now. There's more roster spots with the practice squads being bigger. So, I mean, there's a lot of moving parts. It's not the same old. So, yeah, I mean, you just continue to evaluate where you're at. Some of it's by necessity, right? You have a couple injuries here. What are you going to do? I mean, you're going to ask somebody that's maybe not the same player to do the same job, or are you going to try to lean into their strengths and see if you can, like I said, adapt and do whatever you can to try to win that week.
We're talking about the run game so much. What's been impressive to you about Tyler Algier so far, not just on the football field?
A very smart football player. I think I talked about this the other day. I can't remember what post-game thing I did on Monday. But, you know, the little things that matter. You know, obviously we need to get the first down on that 3rd and 3 late in the game, but he doesn't go out of bounds. He knew the situation. It's a little thing, but it's a big thing because it forced him to use that timeout, which when you get the sack, now they can't call a timeout. Situational football completely changes. That sack that Grady made was enormous because you got to get on the ball. You got to call the play on the ball, essentially. I mean, you could huddle, but where they were at situationally, you have the timeout, it can change a lot of things. And those little things, when guys are in tune to that and know the situation, make a big difference.
So did you get a sense that he was a guy that could handle the mundane things that you were trying to do?
Absolutely.
You mentioned Grady. That
You follow?
No, go ahead.
I would say you mentioned Grady. Are you noticing teams paying a little bit different attention to him this year than last year because of what you're getting from other
We've done
spots?
a lot of things different. We have. I mean, I don't know what, you know, how much people have been paying attention to it, but we've done a lot of things different with him.
How opponents are approaching.
Yeah, I guess it's a give and take. So to put more context to it, there's a lot of things we've done different with them. They've tried to adapt. That, you know, we plays a lot of different spots for us, but certainly he's accounted for every play, and that's kind of the give and take of what you're doing, and as versatile as we try to play.
Getting more into the nitty gritty of this Sunday, this
Tampa.
defense that y'all are facing, what are kind of the primary challenges of which?
They're really strong in the middle. Vita Vea, as good as any interior D lineman in the league. Hard to move, explosive, powerful. Got 2 really good inside linebackers. And White and David, a ton of respect. They got a good young secondary. Those guys fly around. They give you a lot of multiple looks. They always have with Todd Bowles. Strong defense, different challenges week to week, different pressure looks they bring from week to week. So it's a challenge. A really good veteran team.
Do you have to, will y'all monitor whether Hicks is coming back or not?
Well, you monitor everything. You got to monitor everything. I mean, just like they'll monitor everything for us. I mean, it's the way it goes. I know this. Like you got to account for Mike Evans and Tom Brady. Like that's going to be on the scouting report. So just like it will be if Tom tries to get on the line of scrimmage like he did last year in the no huddle. Yeah. So he's got different ways that Tom will get up there, whether he reads his wristband and he's got his plays he wants on his wristband, or gets in the line of scrimmage. The guy's seen it all. So we got to be as sharp as you can when you're playing Tom.
I think you talked about this in the past, how you don't really want to look at the week before for any team, you or the team previous, and really gain a lot from that. Tampa struggled on the ground against Kansas City. How much does that message really resonate?
I guess a better way to put it, you do look at it, but understand that they're going to do something different to get it fixed. If there's something that hurts you, usually people try you in different ways. There's a certain scheme that they think that somebody had success with. They may put their own flavor on it, but my experience, you're going to see it whether it's this week or the next week. So that's kind of the way you're looking at it, knowing that, you know, because Kansas City did something, they had a completely different plan for Kansas City. Kansas City got off to a hot start. They've had the best run defense the last couple of years. So they'll have something different for us and how they play it. And like I said, I think post-game we're not going to surprise anybody or creep up on anybody in certain situations what the intent is. So that's a give and take.
Outside of Brady and Evans, what else stands out about the offense?
Well, I think that, you talk about the mundane, and I don't think Brady gets enough credit to sustain that level of success year after year. Like I said, he's going to make the right play. So you make a mistake and you leave somebody uncovered, usually he finds them. Something as simple as a flat route. Somebody busts the coverage, or they don't cover it, it kind of goes where you're not. And he's had a million different teammates and been successful. And, you know, they got a good team. They got good veteran players. Clearly he's got a lot of trust with Mike Evans, and I would too if I was a quarterback. And they got other vets in there, and they've mixed and matched. And, you know, Godwin seems to be getting back. You can tell he's got a lot of trust in Godwin. Good line. They protect well. And so really good tackles. I mean, Wirfs and Donovan Smith. Patricia Wirfs is a really good player. So they got a lot of good players.
You mentioned for some of the receivers, a couple of receivers who are very familiar with Atlanta, including Russ, who was in your system last year.
Russell?
Yeah.
When
When you have a guy that's, even though you've changed the offense, when you have a guy that's been intricately involved in your offense for a year, is there anything that you're concerned about with that?
No. We've changed so much. No different than, you know, Josh Rosen thinking he could figure it out because he was here last year and he's on Cleveland's practice squad. A lot of change. Guys go week to week. Even Tease Tabor being in our systems and going to Seattle in a week. Certain things you may want to change that could be obvious, but you know, trying to predict every play. I mean, that's just some things you may get a tell on or whatever, but you try to change. But to think somebody's going to stand on the sideline and call every play it's fantasy world. But got a lot of respect. I love coaching Russell Gage, and you know, he's in a different offense, and I'd be happy to see him because I appreciate what Russ did for us last year. But that's the way it goes. No different than Foyer. It's what I talked about earlier. It's a transactional league. Players and coaches. You know, that's why you always got to enjoy the journey while you're with somebody or while you're in a certain job.
Did you have a philosophical reaction to Mike Evans coming off the bench to defend Tom the other day?
No, I worry about my own. I got too much respect. I got my own issues that I worry about. I don't concern myself with somebody else. That's why I'm not going to give you statements on other teams. I don't have all the facts. So all I know is he's a damn good football player, and I have a ton of respect for him.
Functionally, the guys on short-term IR, at what point do they go to the full-time IR? How much? Was there a window where you got to?
Well, if you bring them off, if you don't activate them after 21 days, then they revert back to IR. But everybody's dealing with different things different. Depends on the injury.
So they can stay on there all year.
Sure.